Hello, welcome to Daslius, Learning the Language of Autism. Bell bear away. This week we're going to be talking about how to prepare yourselves as parents for appointments that you may be invited to take your children to when they have been diagnosed with autism and other sensory conditions, neurodiverse conditions. There are many appointments that we get invited to, from speech language to occupational therapy to psychologists to, oh my goodness, consultants, pediatricians. It's endless. And it can be overwhelming. And as a parent, you can start feeling anxious, especially if this is new to you. And the languages that are used during these medical investigations and appointments, it can be completely new and overwhelming. So to try and reduce that for yourself, but also to make the appointment as stress-free as possible for your child, which they could find it even more stressful than you, which in turn will stress you out. So here's a few tips and ideas that I've tried along the years and that have worked for us. I hope you find them helpful. I'm going to keep looking at my notes because there's a lot to get through. So, we worry about how someone views our child, and hopefully, that they see the whole child and not just the condition, which in itself can be quite distressing. So these are ideas and tips that hopefully will help reduce that. First of all is, when you are given an appointment, you can always think to yourself, is this totally necessary? Just because a professional or someone has suggested that you take your child along to a particular appointment, it might not be what they need, or it might not be what you feel they need. So just think about that for a while, and remember that you are allowed to say no, and you are allowed to say no, not for the now. And it might be something that you want to do in the future. I'm not suggesting that you just say no to all appointments. Some of them are necessary, but some aren't. And sometimes you won't discover that until you go along. But also by asking some questions beforehand. So pre-plan it. So when you phone before the appointment is and ask if you can speak to somebody and explain the situation and that your child is autistic and that you need to have everything sorted. So you can ask exactly what's expected. How long is the appointment going to take? Who's going to be there? What is expected of you and what is expected of your child? What exactly are they going to do while you're there? And ask them, is it necessary for them to actually see your child? If your child's very young, they're going to be asking you all the questions anyway, and your child may not be able to answer. So, can you go along on your own? Can you take like some video footage of your child just so that they can say they've seen them? We did this for one of our son's consultant appointments, and I took along of just a video footage of him just so that they could see him, and it worked really well. I also told them that I wouldn't be bringing him because of the reasons, how he finds it difficult going into buildings and whatnot, and it was agreed. And the video was only a 2-minute long video just of him, just seeing him as a person, and the consultant was satisfied. So sometimes that does actually work. It can take such a lot out of the child to get them to an appointment, and sometimes it can take 2-3 hours to get there, and then you're in there for 10 minutes. So if you can avoid taking them, I suggest that you try and do that. If when you're speaking on the phone, you could also ask, is a home visit possible? Doesn't mean you're going to get one, but you could always ask the question, is it possible they can come and visit your child in the home, at school, nursery, or a place in the park, or somewhere where your child already feels safe and at ease? It's worth asking these questions. And you can also suggest that you can take along, you can weigh them, you can measure them, and you can take all that information with you so that your child doesn't have to go through that while you're in the appointment. You can get it all done yourself. And that works for us too. That is something that we do, and the consultant agrees to that. If you do have to take your child and you can't get out of it, then prepare them. What we do is I pre-visit before I even take my son, and I get photographs of the staff that he's going to see. I also get photographs of the building, of the outside of the building and the inside of the building, and particularly the room that he is going to go in. That also really does help him, because then he's got a visual. And talk to your child about what's going to happen when you're there, and also let them know that when it's done, what you're going to be doing after that, so they know that there's an end to the appointment, and that after the appointment you're going to come home, or you're going to go to the park, or you're going to do something else. Just sometimes they worry about, whether they're ever going to get out of that appointment, so it's always telling them what's going to be happening next. Take all their comforts with them. So if you need to take their teddies or their dollies or their toys, or a blanket that they like, or an iPad, headphones, food, drink, whatever will help keep your child occupied and distracted, really, from the rest of the chaos that they may be feeling that's going on in that appointment. And last of all is, take someone with you. Ask if you've got, if you've got a family member or a friend, or even another professional that you feel really connected to and that you trust, like a social worker or a support worker. And if that is possible, I think that's a really good idea, because you've also got someone else that can be with your child while you're having this appointment with the consultant. But please remember that you can say no. And if during the appointment it's really not going well, and as in that your child is very distressed, or you get them there and then you find that they won't go into the room, and rather than drag them in or force them in, you just politely say, I'm really sorry, this isn't working, we're going to have to try another way. Be the advocate for your child, have their backs, and don't be afraid to say no. I really stress that, because it gives you your power, and it helps you feel more in control of the situation. And the calmer you are, and the more prepared you are, then the calmer and the more prepared your child will be. So that's my few little tips for taking your child to the various different appointments that you're invited to. I hope that that's helped, and that you find some ideas there. And you can also talk to autistic community groups that you find on Facebook, which I will put in the description box at the bottom at the end of this video. You can read all of that and find links and whatnot if you want to sort of ask questions to autistic people that have been through these experiences and what they found helpful too. Okay, so you can subscribe to my channel, which means that you'll get alerts for all the upcoming videos that are coming. And I welcome your comments, I welcome your input and your experiences too. The more we share, the more we learn. And that is, our intention. So thank you for watching. Next week, I'm going to be continuing my stuff on positive interactions, especially when you're newly diagnosed, and who do you turn to, what websites do you go to, what kinds of groups do you find information from, and to help you find the right ones from the get-go, something as positive as possible. Otherwise it gets all a bit scary, and it doesn't need to be as doomy and gloomy as that. So that's coming next week. Thank you for watching, and subscribe. Bye for now.